These are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the very last session of the Health Transformation webinar. I'm so happy that you made it this far. It really shows your commitment to stick in there and that you're going to do really well. You're going to get really healthy. So this is the very last session. This is session 6, where we're going to be talking about how to detox and the importance of detoxing, and that no matter how healthy you eat, you cannot live to 110 unless you detox. It's very, very important part of being healthy. So let's get started. All right. Okay, so session 5 of the go-to webinar. This is health transformation. Today we are going to talk about organic versus conventional produce, why the importance of detoxing, nutritional balancing program, and what's involved with nutritional balancing and how that helps you detox, infrared saunas, coffee enemas. We're going to do some coffee talk, juicing, and so let's get started. Organic versus conventional produce is a hot topic today. It's very, very, controversial because Dr. Oz is saying that organic diets are very, bourgeois, and that they're for the upper class, and that not everyone can afford them. But I'm going to give you some strategies to be able to do the diet and really give you a lot of motivation to want to eat organic. I felt it was really important to go over eating organic food in our little lecture today on detoxing, because you want to detox, not retox. If you're kind of missing the boat on detoxing if you retox every day by eating pesticides. So it kind of defeats the purpose, because when you eat organic food, you or avoid ingesting hundreds of pesticides known to cause disease. These are pesticides like Monsanto's Roundup, used on GMO crops, that work by chelating or removing minerals out of weeds and preventing mineral absorption. So this effectively kills the weeds. But they also do this in your body very slowly, killing you. So if you're also exposing yourself to chemical fertilizers, hundreds of pesticides, chemical solvents that are used to extract the vegetable oils and things like that. Chemical fertilizers, the foods are irradiated or microwaved to kill bacteria. This is a problem with a lot of spices and other kinds of vegetables. And you're also ingesting genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, which are absolutely detrimental to your health. And conventional animals are fed antibiotics, contributing to antibiotic resistance, which has proved fatal for thousands and thousands of people. So animals fed GMOs have a lower nutrient profile. They have lowered immunity, lowered infertility or complete infertility in themselves or their offspring, and they have damaged organs, but many just simply die. So your fate is not much different when you ingest GMOs. Perhaps GMOs have something to do with the fact that almost 50% of US citizens get cancer, and a vast majority have chronic health problems by the time they're 60. And we don't know, since the FDA allowed big biotechs like Monsanto to begin selling these GMOs to you in the late 1990s with no safety testing whatsoever. So don't let big business do an experiment on you for their profit. Read labels and get informed. Shop at farmers markets. Get hip and grow your own vegetables. Albeit, conventional non-organic vegetables and fruit are better than no veggies at all. Don't get me wrong, but ideally you want to be trying to move towards eating organic. Organic produce is a huge topic today in nutrition. But one thing I should point out, that it's nothing new. The food your grandparents ate was organic. They just didn't call it that. Because our food supply is so overrun with inferior, nutrient-depleted produce and genetically modified food and vegetables, we need to consider eating organic food to protect our health. This step is imperative if you plan on living to 110. So now I want to go over some of the importance of detoxing. You know, the ecological changes in our environment are occurring at a faster rate then our bodies are able to adapt. We're now faced with a situation where inadequacies or uncertainties centering around the manufacturing, use, storage, and disposal of toxic chemicals have resulted in an overwhelming number of environmentally induced illnesses. These illnesses include cancers of almost every organ system of the body, liver disease, pulmonary damage, nervous system disease, immune system damage, autoimmune disease, reproductive and fertility impairment. Infertility problems are on the rise and are a problem for so many couples. And this also causes the kidney dysfunction. Now, scientific evidence shows that thousands of drugs, food additives, pesticides, and other pollutants remain stored in the body long after exposure. And according to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, everyone has 700 chemicals on average in our bodies. Everyone. No one is exempt. Even people that live in Antarctica, they still have chemicals in their bodies because these toxic clouds from industry are spewed into the environment, and the weather just brings them to every corner of the earth. So no matter where you are, if you live in the country, if you live in a remote island somewhere, you are still you're not exempt from chemical toxicity, unfortunately. And even more sad is that babies have 70 chemicals on average in their body. And when these toxins are not excreted from our body, they accumulate in our fat tissue and are able to do ongoing damage. And sadly, we are constantly bombarded with the chemicals in our air, food, and water. There's no escape. So no matter how healthy you eat or take care of yourself, you cannot achieve true health unless you purge heavy metals and environmental chemicals from your body. So if you don't take an effort to detox these chemicals, you will inevitably manifest a disease or chronic health condition depending upon your genetic susceptibility. And detoxification absolutely should be considered a lifelong process. And so it's time to start learning about how to detox your body. Now I want to go over one of the most effective ways is a nutritional balancing program. I'm currently training in this protocol because I've been doing it myself for over a year. It's unbelievable. And I'm detoxing all kinds of crap. I'm getting rid of aluminum and cadmium and arsenic and mercury and all kinds of stuff. So it really does work. So it's equally important to correct the levels of minerals in your body, because if you have deficiencies, your body will accumulate heavy metals to do the jobs that the minerals should be doing. So what makes this problem even worse is that our food is quite nutrient deficient. The broccoli today has 20% of the minerals that it had 100 years ago. So no matter how well you eat, you cannot get sufficient minerals in your body, sadly, and you have to supplement. So the more nutrient deficient we become, the more we accumulate toxins in our bodies, and the harder it is for our bodies to remove them. One of the best ways to remineralize your body and aid in detoxing these heavy metals is with a nutritional balancing program. Minerals like zinc, cadmium, etc., and heavy metals like lead, aluminum, and mercury, and others inhabit the same places in your body and can do the same jobs. For instance, if you don't have enough zinc, your body will be forced to accumulate and repair your blood vessels with cadmium, which doesn't do the job as good because it's really brittle and makes your blood vessels really brittle, but it does work. And it also makes them really hard, so that's why people get high blood pressure. So nutritional balancing can help remineralize your body and help you to detox safely. And the first step in a nutritional balancing program is to do a hair mineral analysis. A piece of your hair is cut and sent off to a lab to be analyzed. And what is the program? Basically, the nutritional balancing program includes supplements. Based on your hair test results, you'll be given supplements based on your minerals, your mineral test, which serve to detox heavy metals and chemicals. The nutritional supplements will also be given to you for your specific health conditions. And the supplements are about $100 or more per month, which isn't that bad given that they're very reasonably priced. I have to say I've taken a lot of supplements in my day and spent far, far more money trying to piece together my own little program. And this program is good. It just streamlines it. You don't have to think about it. You're just told what to take, and it just makes it a lot easier, frankly. And next, you're given a diet of natural whole foods, including animal protein, tailored specific to your metabolic rate, which will be either slow, fast, or mixed, which mixed is also considered normal. And most people are slow metabolizers, meaning they gain weight easy and they have a lot of toxicity in their body that their body can't handle it anymore, and it just starts slowing down further and further and further. Next, the program also includes detox strategies, which we'll discuss in a minute. And the program also includes lifestyle modification recommendations to reduce stress, including lots of sleep, 7 to 9 hours a night, preferably. So for the program to be effective, you will need to do hair mineral retests every 3 to 4 months, or every 6 months if you choose. And this retest will change your supplements for most people, and your diet could change accordingly until you are in balance. And this can take a while. It depends on how toxic you are, but it can take a 1 year for children or several years for adults, and maybe even more if you're really, really toxic. The first test and consultation costs, depending on the practitioner, between $175 to $250, and retests are about $150. So it's not too bad, considering all the money you spend at doctor's tests and co-payments and whatnot. It's not too bad. So on this program, toxic metals and chemicals are removed naturally and safely. Cells can make more energy, and symptoms, they just start disappearing. So I'm not going to lie, this process does take time. Unfortunately, it can take a long time to remineralize the body, even years. It can take 9 to 12 months to remineralize just one mineral. We have a lot of them. And it can also take years to remove all the heavy metals and chemicals from the body using the supplements and detox methods that we'll discuss in a moment. And due to the time and dedication that it takes, it's not for everyone. It's only for those truly committed to their health. I've had a lot of clients start the program and then they couldn't afford the supplements, or they just kind of lost interest because people are used to getting medications and getting a quick fix. But this is not a quick fix, but it does fix your health in the long run. It's unbelievable. It's just so profound how it just takes away all of your health issues. It did for me, so I'm really, really happy. And so if you want more information, you can see my blog post, Nutritional Balancing Science with Hair Mineral Analysis. And you can also visit drlwilson.com. I personally use Nikki Moses, mosesnutrition.com, to do my hair tests. And she's in Los Angeles, but she can see you no matter where you live in the world. So sorry, I skipped forward here a little too quickly, as I usually do. So one of the best detox protocols used in nutritional balancing science is infrared saunas. They're very safe and effective for detoxing. And they have so many health benefits, including detoxification, weight loss. They're very good for pain relief. If you have any kind of pain or injury, they speed up the healing of your injury. And if you're having trouble losing weight or have a lack of energy because of toxicity, or you're sick or suffering from a chronic disease or health condition, especially cancer, toxin accumulation is contributing to the problem. And infrared sauna therapy is one of the safest and most powerful ways to eliminate toxins and increase your overall health. And I do them at least several times a week. And infrared saunas, they can be either near or far infrared saunas. Most you see at spas or health practitioners' offices are far infrared. These are great, but many think that near infrared saunas are a lot better for you because the far infrared saunas can emit too many EMFs, or electromagnetic fields. These are the controversy that surrounds cell phones. These electromagnetic fields, or EMFs, are what our cell phones emit and other electronic equipment emit, and they can cause all kinds of problems in our brain waves and can cause cancer and electric sensitivity in some people. So they're generally just not good for us. So that's why a lot of people prefer the near infrared saunas. And you can even make a near infrared bulb sauna at home for just $160, even $200 using red infrared sauna bulbs that you can get at any hardware store. Simply install 3 or more of these bulbs in a tiny room inside of a tent or a small bathroom. Place a heater in the room, a pretty powerful one, so that you can heat it up to 110 plus degrees. I personally like 140 degrees at least. So the hotter it is, the more you're going to sweat. And voila, you have a homemade sauna. And you can also use just a single bulb, like a sauna lamp, on any body part that's hurting or injured, because the rays are very good at tissue healing and detoxifying that area. And if you want, I have directions on my website how to make a home sauna on my blog post, Infrared Saunas, on the live210.com, as well as listings of reputable manufacturers if you just want to buy a prefabricated one, and how to find a sauna in your area. Now, the infrared saunas differ from regular saunas because they penetrate deeper. The rays in an infrared sauna penetrate 1.5 inches into your skin, detoxing all the cells in its path. And about 15 to 20% of the sweat you produce are toxins, compared to only 5% in a regular sauna. This makes your time in an infrared sauna much more effectively spent compared to a regular dry sauna that you find at your gym, for instance. One great way that I use the sauna is when I have a cold, flu, or infection. The sauna induces a faux fever, so to speak, by increasing your body temperature by 3 degrees. And what happens when you have a fever? You kill bacteria and viruses. So, what saunas do is they shorten the length of a cold or prevent it from developing in the first place, which I've kicked a lot of colds this way. I can't even tell you. And another really important use for the sauna is in killing cancer cells, even ones that you don't even know you have. The sauna really should be mandatory for anyone with cancer. Even if one is very ill, they're sick from the cancer treatments, if they're doing chemo, they're very, very weakened, it's okay because the temperature of the infrared sauna, can be reduced to 110 or 120 degrees and still be very effective. The sauna will help to reduce a cancer patient's toxic load, which is extremely important while killing cancer cells at the same time. One of the reasons people get cancer is because their body is so toxic, the body just can't fight the cancer cells anymore. The immune system can't fight the cancer cells, and they're also incredibly mineral deficient. So, what the infrared sauna does is effectively detoxes their body to help them fight the cancer. It also aids in reducing nausea and the negative side effects of chemo. It helps you metabolize out chemo, to get it out of your body quicker so it doesn't wreak so much havoc on your body. And cancer cells also don't tolerate heat well, and so they die as a result. You are able to shrink tumors and whatnot by using a infrared sauna. So I like to think of the sauna as a form of cancer prevention. It is important to note that everyone develops cancer cells. You might only have a few here and there, but if you have a strong immune system and are not too toxic, your body is able to kill them. However, when your body is overloaded with toxins, so much so that the immune system is weakened, the immune system is overloaded or weakened by a poor diet. This is when mutant cells are able to grow into a tumor. Hopefully, this is caught in time, but regular sauna use can prevent this from happening. That's why I love them so much. Next, we're going to talk about coffee enemas, little coffee talk. Another detox tactic used with nutritional balancing science are coffee enemas. But don't freak out. Everyone is hesitant at first, but then they really begin to love them. But they're not for everyone. A lot of men are very, not into putting something up their poop shit. Totally understandable. But I have to say that coffee enemas are invaluable if you have constipation, if you have any kind of pain relief, any kind of pain. They're great for pain relief. They're great for a cancer treatment and aiding in relieving the pain of cancer and detoxing heavy metals and chemicals and the chemo. And they're also amazing for detoxing heavy metals out of your body. Coffee enemas are one of the best ways of cleansing the liver, the colon, and speeding up detoxification processes in the body. All toxins must be processed by your liver, which is a near impossible job in our toxic world. Coffee enemas, they provide a means for your liver to dump its toxic load of chemicals, excess estrogens, which also contribute to cancer, and heavy metals into the intestines for elimination. So they're especially crucial if you have a chronic illness. Coffee enemas have been used as a healing remedy for the last 100 years. They're particularly well known as part of the cancer treatment protocol for Gerson therapy. They're very famous natural cancer treatment. As many cancers are fueled by estrogen, coffee enemas aid the liver in metabolizing estrogen, reducing estrogen levels. The enemas aid the body in detoxing chemicals and heavy metals that are the underlying cause of cancer and most disease. Additionally, coffee enemas can help to relieve pain, nausea, general nervous tension, and depression. So they have so many benefits. So how do they work? Coffee enemas are superior to plain water enemas as they provide so many more benefits. The theobromine, theophylline, and caffeine in the coffee travel via the rich capillary bed of the rectum into the portal veins, which lead directly to the liver. These substances, they dilate the blood vessels and open up the bile ducts of the gallbladder and the liver, allowing the liver to release bile, which contains all the toxins. Doctors at the University of Minnesota showed that coffee administered rectally also stimulates an enzyme system in the liver, which increases glutathione. This is the master antioxidant in the body, which increases 600 to 700% above normal activity levels. This antioxidant reacts with free radicals, which cause cell damage and cancer and other problems in the bloodstream and makes them inert. So it effectively neutralizes free radicals. So these neutralized substances become dissolved in the bile, are released through the bile flow from the liver and gallbladder, and are excreted through the intestinal tract and removed, when you excrete the coffee enemas. While holding the coffee enema in the colon for 10 to 15 minutes, you can even do it up to 20 minutes, the body's entire blood supply passes to the liver 4 to 5 times, carrying poisons picked up from the tissues. So, and these are eliminated when you expel the coffee at the end of the enema. So the enema acts as a form of dialysis of the blood. They're fantastic. So, I've heard of some people being opposed to coffee enemas, claiming that they wash out the probiotics in your colon, like bifida. However, you only take in, like 2 cups of water into your very large colon. So the enemas, they don't fill your entire colon. They don't wash out the entire colon. So I don't see why some would think this. However, colonics done at a practitioner's office are a different story. These do fill the entire colon, and I would avoid them for this reason. And they can also subject you to infections if the equipment is not cleaned properly. And this even happened to a friend of mine where he was really sick for 3 weeks, battling an infection he got after a colonic. So coffee enemas they're much better. They're done at home in the privacy of your own home. You can sterilize the equipment to your heart's content, and they're just a lot more safer. And you can read more about coffee enemas and get instructions on how to perform one on my blog. They're very detailed instructions on the blog post called Coffee Enemas, appropriately titled. Now we're going to talk about juicing. Juices are a great way to detox from heavy metals and a ton of other chemical poisons with no side effects or harmful complications. Now, thousands of people have used juices to heal themselves from cancer and other deadly diseases with this simple, time-honored remedy. Hundreds of scientific studies have been published on the health benefits of fresh, raw vegetable juices. So it's safe. It's very effective. Now, the absorption rate of juice is 99%, whereas even the best human digestive system in the world is only able to absorb 40% of the nutrients from food. Therefore, juices can recharge and rejuvenate your body very, very quickly. When we eat food, energy is required to digest the food. Digestion is the number one zapper of energy, and less than 40% of these nutrients can be assimilated. The digestive system has virtually no work to do in digestive juices. They get absorbed in 20 to 25 minutes, providing the body with a concentrated amount of nutrients. But why not buy the juice in the store? Juices in stores, they've been processed and pasteurized, destroying all the enzymes and many vitamins and phytonutrients. And they also lose, more just sitting around for a few days, even up to a week. And most are merely a source of sugar, after all the healthy benefits have evaporated. The sugar is left over. That's why they're so tasty. But in freshly extracted juice, the natural sugars are balanced with enzymes, minerals, and other nutrients, which turn them into energy for the body. However, the juices in the stores do not contain as much nutrients, but they are better than drinking no juice at all. But you can get too much of a good thing. I recommend only drinking 10 to 12 ounces of carrot juice or green vegetable juice a day. More than that, it's going to give your body too much sugar and throw it out of balance. And no fruit juice. Fruit juice has way too much sugar and should be enjoyed only occasionally just because you want the taste of it. Not, I just definitely do not recommend doing fruit juice. It's just so full of sugar, which is so, so bad for your body and one of the number one carcinogens in our diet today. So I want to talk to you a little bit about why your doctor is limited in his ability to treat your health conditions. Sadly, our medical system is entirely symptom based. When you get sick, you go to the doctor. But I think it should be more of a preventative care system. And unfortunately, you're usually only offered surgery or medication to treat your health condition. Um, like when you have a headache, you get pain medication. When this doesn't work, you're given a different medication. But it's just a rare, brilliant doctor that recommends detox or alternative care like biofeedback or acupuncture for headaches or other methods of healing. And so it's just not a holistic system which seeks to find if your headache is caused by poor nutrition or dysregulation of a major body system or toxification. You go to a different doctor for each different body system. Care is piecemeal and therefore largely ineffective. You go to a immunologist for your allergies. You go to an endocrinologist for if you have diabetes. It's just like, it just doesn't make any sense. And it's actually laughable in many other disciplines of medicine around the world. And our current system manages diseases very poorly with medications rather than preventing them. And prevention is just largely ignored. And something I also want to note is that our healthcare system is number 17 in the world, rated on a bunch of different measures. So we don't have the best healthcare system in the world by any means. We're rated on the same level as Croatia. So So definitely you have to get it out of your head that we don't have the best medical system, though we do have a lot of fantastic doctors here in the States. Now, most mainstream medical doctors, holistic doctors, and even naturopaths do not understand that most disease is a result of heavy metal and environmental pollution in combination with mineral and vitamin deficiencies. If they did, they wouldn't waste people's money on expensive tests and drugs that typically make things worse. When you get sick, one of the first things you should do is detox your body and see if treatment is still required. And sadly, in some cases, it will be. And medications, they do nothing to get rid of the underlying cause of disease, much less bring a cure, and oftentimes usually cause more harm. In fact, by adding one more chemical to an already overwhelmed body, they usher in new symptoms and disease for which most people are given more medication. Physicians are programmed to practice drug-driven medicine where every symptom dictates a drug or surgery. This lends itself to a myopia, or not seeing the most obvious cause of disease and using safer, natural methods to treat your patients. Medicated patients get sicker quicker. But don't get me wrong, Modern medicine and medications absolutely save lives. However, our country is grossly over-medicated and a medical system largely controlled by big pharma. You'll find that and we take in the United States far more medication than in most other countries, and we're far sicker as well. I highly recommend seeing Michael Moore's documentary. It's called Sicko. It really highlights the problems in our medical system. It's really good. Sorry, my throat's a little dry. So, valuable treatment time is wasted in vain with needless medication, surgeries, herbs. Especially, I don't really like the Ayurvedic or Chinese herbs because they contain too many toxic heavy metals. Um, People are also taking symptomatic vitamin and mineral therapy. For instance, prescribing iron for low iron doesn't work that way. The body is a system. You take one mineral, it affects the levels of all the other minerals. That's where nutritional balancing comes in. People are also put on all sorts of diets and even given chelation therapy for different heavy metals. It's just not a good idea. Chelation can be very dangerous. But people simply need to help. People simply need help to gently and safely remove toxic metals and chemicals from their body. Nutritional balancing with the help of infrared sauna therapy and coffee enemas are one of the very few methods I'm aware of that accomplish this all the time without fail. But don't get me wrong, doctors do save lives. Medications save lives. If I'm in a car accident, Western medical trauma care is the best in the world. That's what I want. Surgery is necessary for many conditions. I'm not anti-medicine. I know I'm not against using medication, but I'm against using medication or surgery as a first line of treatment. Natural healing methods are often far more effective and address the root cause of the problem. And so this just simply makes more sense to me. So I want to urge you to start taking responsibility for your own health, and not just leaving it up to your doctor. With the current state of our medical care and the sad takeover of our medical system very soon with Obamacare, we are losing control of our healthcare. With Obamacare, there's going to be 50 oversight boards that are going to be created that will make decisions over whether you receive care or not for your medical condition, whether you get surgery or not. And it's kind of frightening to think about that this huge bureaucracy is going to be making decisions about your health. So now more than ever, you must begin educating yourself about your particular health conditions and see your doctor or any other healthcare practitioner as mere consultants in your health, not someone whose advice you blindly follow. Following someone else's healthcare advice without question rarely has good outcomes. Now, in many instances, doctors are only legally allowed to offer you medications or surgery for your health conditions, or they could lose their medical license or face malpractice suits. And sadly, a lot of doctors do practice defensive medicine like this. And they're not knowledgeable about nutrition. I have doctors ask me all the time about nutrition advice. And they also don't know much about alternative medicine or therapies outside of the medication and surgery. So it's up to you to learn about these areas of health. And searches on the internet can be very confusing and overwhelming because it's often difficult to find correct information. I know because I'm always researching. Most traditional sites or most sites are just, your garden variety medical websites with all the typical Western medical solutions, or are funded by big pharma to steer you towards medication for treatment. Uh, for this reason, I wanted to give you a list of credible websites where you can find correct medical and health information without bias from the big pharma and the American Medical Association, and find the true cures and relief for your health conditions and symptoms. And some of the best sites that I've found so far are Mercola.com, love chriskresser.com, lovenaturalnews.com from Mike Adams, Mark Sisson, big paleo guy. He has the site marksdailyapple.com. Love Chris Masterjohn of thedailylipid.com. I love Liz Wolf and the other person, it's another girl, they're a little duo that run the balancebites.com and their podcast. drwild.com has some great stuff, though it's very, very oversimplified, but it does have some very good basic information. WestonAprice.org is wonderful for diet and health conditions. And also earthclinic.com and the healthyhomeeconomist.com are very good. Certainly, there's other great websites, but these cover a lot of ground, and I find that I keep going to them again and again because of the stellar information that they contain. So for this session, our goals that I want you to do are to try an infrared sauna. You can go on the website on live110.com and look at the blog post infrared saunas and find a sauna in your area. I have directions on how to do that. I have lots of saunas listed in the Los Angeles area. So I want you to go and try one and read up about it and see if that's something that you enjoy. So don't be afraid of sweating. Sweating is it's something that cavemen used to do all day long. So it's something that we have to do to be healthy. So get used to it. Love your sweating. And I also want you to try to drink fresh juice twice a week. Remember that we only need to be drinking carrot juice or green juice. Like I really like kale, celery, cucumber, spinach, and a little green apple and a little twist of lemon really can cut the bitter taste of it. So that's what I would drink at least twice a week. Also try to squeeze some wheatgrass in there a couple times a week if you can. But ideally, you want to be drinking a little bit of juice every day. So, thank you so much for joining me on this journey to discover the basic foundations of diet and detox that you need in place to experience optimum health. All the dietary recommendations on this webinar series are principles of the Live to 110 diet and protocol. They're all pretty much, basic paleo diet principles modified a bit to accommodate individual differences and our modern environmental problems, like pollution and heavy metal environmental toxicity. My goal and hope with this webinar series is to arm you with the knowledge you need to prevent disease and disability and live a long, healthy life, hopefully to 110. So remember, the best time to work on your health is while you still have it. Thank you so much for listening.